So over this past week, one of the most wild leaks I have ever seen on this platform has come out. And I gotta be honest with you guys, this one is one of the weirdest and honestly one of the grossest debates I think I have ever seen on this platform and on Twitter, which is hard because it's Twitter. So what am I talking about? Well, by the thumbnail, you probably kind of get the gist. One of the biggest left-leaning political streamer YouTuber guys named Vaush has goofed. And he has goofed in such a way that I don't think I can ever see him as a normal, respectable person ever again. And I could sit here and I could talk to you guys about all the things he said and go over them. But honestly, I don't even have to do that because all of it is clipped and it was streamed. So here you go.
See, this is an example of the kind of structure that I'm referring to.
It is possible. Please, right now, uncuck your dumb shit libcuck fucking SJW brains and recognize this empirically correct fact that I am about to spit. It is possible for an adult and a child to have a sexual relationship and for it to have positive outcomes on the child as well.
Should consuming child porn be legal? I think that would be, yes, more legal and more ethically consistent. Yes, 100%.
None of this is a secret. Just to be clear, many jokes have been made about this, but I stand by it. My moral principles are rock solid. My feet are firmly planted in the ground. I've got my boots up. They're planted firmly. You cannot move me from my position. This isn't a secret.
Yeah. It's pretty bad. I don't understand why or how or what trauma you had to go through as a child to have this type of kink. Maybe it's a lack of trauma, not too sure. But it's not just horses, which we'll talk about a little more down the line, but it's also the children aspect of a lot of the things that were shown in this.
You can see this is an example of the kind of structure that I'm referring to.
That is the exact same thing that I showed you at the beginning of this video. It's a clip of Vaush opening his folders, completely leaking his not safe for work folder of horses doing things with women and children. I'm not even sure how I can talk about this properly because it is such a it's degenerate. This is the most degenerate thing I think I've seen anyone get outed for in a long time. I mean, sure, we had Pyro, right? Which I know, I get it, Pyro clone, haha, funny. But he was outed for being a furry who was into inflation or fat, whatever the fuck he was into. I'm not even sure. And everyone tried to cancel him for that, but this is a whole this is not good. This is 7 layers deeper than whatever that was. This folder was right next to his taxes, by the way. When this clip is taken, if you slow it down, you can see that his taxes folder is right above it. But this guy has a lot in there. He has a lot in there. I probably don't have to explain to you what a lolly is because you're watching a video on Vaush. You probably know what it is, so I'm not gonna explain. But on top of all that, some of these images were AI generated, meaning this guy had to go out of his way to make this shit, because the only way you get AI generated images that look like this, I can't show you it, so I'm gonna show you something completely different, is making very specific prompts because you know what you're looking for. So his argument of, oh, I just thought they were short stack goblin creatures, it holds zero weight. Literally nothing. Because in his response video, he had these two things to say.
Stuff is this or that, okay? I'll make it clear. You can write this down. I want to fuck a woman as a horse. None of this is a secret. To be clear, many jokes have been made about this, but I stand by it. My moral principles are rock solid. My feet are firmly planted in the ground. I've got my boots up. They're planted firmly. You cannot move me from my position. This isn't a secret. Let's talk to a therapist. Well, why do you want to be the horse, Vaush? Because then I'd have a giant dick. Okay, couldn't you have a big dick the other way? Well, yeah, I could. I could have a big dick hypothetically in any variety of scenarios, but then it wouldn't really be a horse dick. Well, you could be a human with a horse dick. Yes, but then I wouldn't have that powerful stallion energy using it. There you go. That's it. That's the whole thing.
The other one is a threesome with 2 chicks and a guy. And in retrospect, looking at it, knowing now that artist is a lolicon, yeah, I can see it. When I looked at it, I think the vibe that I got was short stack, thick kind of thing. You know what I mean? like the way like goblins get drawn in porn. You'll have to entertain me for a moment on this presumed shared knowledge of how goblins get drawn in pornography. But you know how they're all like thick short stacks, right?
Which is fucking, like, that's absurd, brother. What the fuck? What makes it all worse too is this folder is very, very organized. Like, if you look at the screenshot, there are like 10 different segments this guy has. This dude is such a gooner that he went out of his way to go ahead and take all of his gooning material and categorize it, which is fucking absurd. Why would, number one, why save it? As a giant fucking streamer that has been on these weird tirades about how CP is good and stuff, like, how are you going to have lolicon material openly available on your computer? This whole thing makes this situation, like, you cannot plead ignorance to what he was gooning to. It makes that whole thing void. Yeah, I said it. There you go. You happy? What makes the situation even worse is Vaush has stated a lot of times during the past couple years that he doesn't see anything wrong with CP, which has caused a really, really strange and disgusting fan base to kind of boil and bubble into his sphere, and it's just not looking good. There's three main aspects going into this Vaush situation. There are three different sides to this whole thing. There's the normal people side, which is just people being like, hey, that's kind of weird, man. I don't know why you would say that. What is wrong with you? Then there's like Tipster and goddammit, whatever her name is, Keffels. If you guys don't know who either of those two are, good. Bless your souls. Don't even try to look into them. They're not worth talking about. They're over here just trying to defend Vaush and like all of his weird statements, which is making them look way, way worse.
And I know there's a lot of people who are going to disagree with my position on this. That's fine. Not everybody has to agree with me. If I legitimately thought that Vaush was advocating for things that would potentially bring harm to children, I would not be defending him here. I would not be defending him if I thought he actually believed in, you know, arguments in favor of child pornography. I would not be defending him if I actually believed he was in favor of sexual relationships between adults and minors. I would not be defending him for any of these things if this were true. I would be disavowing him. But the thing is, it's not true. And that's why I'm going to bat for him.
But also their fan bases are trying to defend Vaush, because Vaush is like this big, he's like the big three of the left-leaning political YouTubers, which we'll talk about how I feel about these guys later. He's like one of the big pillars of this community. And so to see him fall off like this, I know it must be hard, but like, that does not mean defend CP so your boy can get out free. Like, what is that logic here? And then there's the third side, which honestly is, in my opinion at least, the worst side to be on. These people really don't like Vaush, but they really, really like lollies. And they're coming after Vaush because they think that he's not representing the lolly community properly, which is like, that is a wild hill to die on right there, man. These are the type of people who have not touched grass that was not generated outside of Genshin Impact. These people do not leave Twitter. They're just glued to their chair for eternity. They were born on Twitter. This is so fucking insane. Like, you would think the vast majority of people would be like, oh yeah, what Vaush said and what Vaush got outed for is really bad. You know, it seems like that would be the rational opinion to have, but it seems like the internet is completely divided on this. And it's like, why? The dude was outed for having basically CP on his computer, and he says he wants to be a horse to have sex with women. What is not strange about that? What is morally right about any of what is happening here? Why is there this weird hill that these people are trying to die on? It's mind-boggling. Every single time I end up covering a drama of some sort, and this is kind of why I'm leaning outside of drama as of recently, it always ends up with pedophilia. Every single time. Every single one of these people that gets outed for something ends up like supporting pedophilia in some way, or they themselves are a pedophile. It is ridiculous, man. I don't understand what's going on. Like, can we just fucking leave the kids alone for once? Holy shit. Like I've already shown you in some of these clips, this guy has a lot to say on CP. For some reason, this is one of his major talking points, which is really weird, considering that he has also stated this.
Anime that attracts Nazis. In this case, it's literally the pedophilia angle. It's that anime has a ton of f***ing lolly shit, and a ton of Nazis are hyper insecure in their masculinity, and they want like a trad wife or whatever, untainted by feminism, that they can control and manipulate because they have no other experiences. And anime is perfect for people with that kind of psychosis. I've never watched.
But yet he has all of these files on his computer. It's like, brother, what are you trying to say here? What's going on? What's up, man? Which all of this just incriminates him even further. Like, how are you yourself going to make the correlation between pedophilia and lolicon and then proceed to have lolicon on your computer? Like, why would you ever do that? Talking about this stuff tends to make me quite uncomfortable because I have a kid myself and I don't like any of this, but I feel like it's important to talk about Vaush specifically because he is a major pillar of the political commentary space. Like I said, I've been trying to lean out of drama that leans towards this kind of stuff simply because of that. I don't like finding out that more and more people on this platform exploit kids for their own sick fucking games. It infuriates me to no extent. Like, I don't know how else to really explain that. And I feel like the vast majority of you would understand that as well. But Vaush, the reason why I'm talking about him, like I said, he's one of the big three. He's a massive, massive pillar of the political commentary space. So to have someone like this be one of the lead people in politics that is not a politician themselves, to be quite honest with you, it's just disgusting. To be fair to Vaush, I also just don't like political commentators. I think most of them are the scum of the fucking earth. None of the people that I have seen in the political commentary space feel like they actually have opinions. It feels like everything they say is just a grift. No one here seems to have any actual moral leaning. And it feels to me like the only reason that they even talk about politics half the time is to pander. They know what type of audience they're going for here. And the audience they tend to lean to is a lot more extremist, I guess you would say. So it's easy to exploit them and make a fuck ton of money off of them because they'll always come back to your content so long as you're saying the right thing, which is exactly what Vaush does, and same with Hassan, but that's a whole nother bag of worms that I'm not even gonna get into. Vaush is just one of those guys who knew exactly what type of niche to get into for this type of shit. The reason why he got away with saying all of this stuff about pedophilia for so long is because of his status. No one outside of the political sphere really ever paid attention to what he said, and the ones that did kind of just turned a blind eye to it, if we're gonna be honest here. The only person in that political sphere that I genuinely think has some sort of actual opinion and actual takes is Destiny. I don't really have any feelings towards the dude, right? But he's the only one that seems to stick with it, and I kind of respect him for that. Everyone else in the space feels like complete grifters. And for Vaush, it seemed like this was the community where he found that he could get away with both saying this shit and scamming people out of their moral compass, basically. I feel as if he wasn't one of these big political streamers, this would have been an issue a long time ago, because this has been going on with Vaush forever. The clips that I showed you are not recent. Most of these are years old. The horse thing is kind of funny to me, but it's like the only funny thing out here, and it's still degenerate as hell because it's just him openly admitting that he wants bestiality, which is fucking absurd still. Hopefully we don't get another Vaush situation, because honestly, I'm getting really tired of these fucking weird people getting all of this fame and glory for like literally nothing. Like, the dude just has really awful takes. I guess moral of the story is, don't let this man within 120 feet of an elementary school, and do not let him come near any barn or any range of some sort. Otherwise, there will be blood in the water. Anyways, if you like this video, please go ahead and leave a like. Go ahead and leave a subscribe. Go ahead and hit those bell notifications, because that will give you notifications for my videos, which would be really cool. Shout out to my members Magic, Harley, Kenna, and Samantha Bach for being the silliest geese on the planet. They have recently discovered Atlantis, and now they're trying to bring back all this ancient technology so that way they can be the silliest of geese and try and take over planets like an intergalactic federation of some sort. And if you want in on that action, you can do that too for only $5 a month. And for those $5, you get all the listed benefits here on this list. So take a look at it and make your decision within 5 seconds. You only have 5. And if you like this video, please go check out my last video. I thought it was pretty good, so